The Zephyrian Empire ruled 3,000 star systems across the galaxy. For 500 years they had been the strongest force in space. Their ships were fast, their weapons were powerful, and their soldiers were feared everywhere. Admiral Vextar commanded the Imperial Survey Fleet, a group of ships that looked for new worlds to conquer. On a cold morning in space, Admiral Vextar stared at the blue planet on his screen. Earth looked small and weak from where his ship floated. The planet had only one moon, and the humans living there seemed very simple. They had tiny ships that moved slowly through space. Their largest settlement was on the moon, and it looked like a small mining station. "This will be easy," Admiral Vextar said to his second officer. "These humans barely know how to fly in space. They will surrender in one day." The Admiral was wrong. He did not know that humans had been watching the stars for a very long time. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the Horizon. The ship looked like a simple cargo vessel from the outside, but inside it was full of advanced weapons and sensors. Jake had been watching space for 10 years, waiting for this day to come. "Captain, I'm getting strange readings," said Lisa Grant, from her station. She was the ship's sensor officer, and she was very good at her job. "There are ships out there, but they're trying to hide from us." Jake walked over to look at her screen. The readings showed energy patterns that were not from Earth ships. "Paul, what do you think?" he asked his engineer. Paul Weber had built ships for 20 years before joining the military. He knew every engine type that humans used. "These are not our ships, Captain. The energy patterns are completely different. Someone else is watching us." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was the moment they had all been preparing for. He pressed a button on his chair and spoke into his microphone. "This is Captain Morrison to Earth Command. We have contact with unknown vessels. Beginning investigation protocol." On Earth, President Helen Brooks sat in a deep underground room that most people did not know existed. The room was filled with computers and communication equipment. General Kevin Torres stood beside her, looking at reports from space. "Madam President, our sensors have detected at least 12 alien ships in our solar system," General Torres said. "They've been watching us for 3 weeks. Helen Brooks had been president for 4 years, but she had known about this possibility for much longer." "Are our people ready, General?" "Yes, ma'am. We've been ready for 30 years. The general was telling the truth. Since 1995, humans had been building secret weapons and ships. They had learned that they were not alone in the galaxy, and they had been preparing. Every space station that looked like a research center was actually a military base. Every mining operation on the moon had hidden weapons. Even the simple communication satellites around Earth could turn into deadly weapons when needed. Dr. Amanda Foster worked in a small lab deep under the Rocky Mountains. She was Earth's best expert on alien languages and cultures. For the past week, she had been listening to radio signals from the alien ships. "They call themselves the Zephyrian Empire," she told her assistant Carl Davis. "From what I can understand, they think we are primitive. They're planning to invade us." Carl looked worried. "What do they want?" "Slaves," Amanda said quietly. "They want to take our people and make them work in their mines on other planets. They think we are too weak to fight back." Amanda had been studying alien cultures for 15 years. She knew that the Zephyrians had conquered 47 other species. Every time the pattern was the same. They would watch a planet for a few weeks, then attack with overwhelming force. The people on the planet would surrender quickly, and the Zephyrians would take what they wanted. But the Zephyrians had never fought humans before. Captain Morrison's ship moved quietly through space, following the alien vessels. His crew was nervous but ready. They had trained for this moment their entire careers. "Captain, I'm picking up a transmission," said Beth Collins, the communication officer. "It's in their language, but the computer is translating it." "Put it on speaker," Jake said. The alien voice was cold and mechanical. "Survey complete. Species designation, human. Technology level, primitive. Resistance probability, 0. Recommendation, immediate conquest. Resources, high value. Population, suitable for labor." The bridge went quiet. Everyone understood what they had just heard. The aliens saw humans as nothing more than animals to be captured and used. "Captain," Lisa said from her station, "more ships are coming. I count 50 new contacts jumping into our system." Jake smiled grimly. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. The enemy has arrived. Deep underground." On Earth, alarms began to ring. President Brooks stood up and looked at the large screen showing their solar system. Red dots marked the positions of alien ships. "General Torres, are our people in position?" "Yes, Madam President. Every hidden base is ready. Our ships are waiting. The moon bases are armed and ready." "What about our secret weapon?" General Torres smiled. "The surprise is ready, ma'am. When they attack, they're going to learn something very important about humans. And what's that? That we never give up. Ever." Meanwhile, Admiral Vextar studied the reports from his scouts. Everything looked normal. The humans had a few small ships and some basic mining equipment. Their largest military force seemed to be a few hundred simple fighters. "This will be the easiest conquest in the Empire's history," he told his staff. "We'll destroy their ships, land our troops, and have this planet under control in 3 days." But as Admiral Vextar made his plans, he did not see the hundreds of hidden human ships waiting in the asteroid belt. He did not know about the powerful weapons hidden inside innocent-looking space stations. He had no idea that humans had been preparing for this war for 30 years. The Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that some species would rather die fighting than live as slaves. And humans were the most dangerous of all such species. Emperor Zarthul sat on his golden throne in the great palace on Zephyr Prime. He was old, but his eyes were still sharp and cruel. Around him stood his war council, 12 generals who had conquered worlds across the galaxy. Today they would discuss the small blue planet called Earth. "My Emperor," said General Mordak, bowing low, "we have completed our study of the human world. They are weak and primitive. This conquest will be easier than taking candy from a child." The Emperor smiled coldly. "Tell me more about these humans." General Mordak activated a hologram showing Earth and its small moon. "They have only basic space technology. Their ships are slow and their weapons are simple. We estimate their entire military force at less than 1,000 ships. Most of these are just cargo vessels with light weapons." Another general, Caxville, stepped forward. "My lord, in the past 50 years we have conquered 23 worlds. Not one of them lasted more than a week against our forces. The humans will surrender on the first day." Emperor Zarthul had ruled the Empire for 30 years. In that time he had never lost a single battle. Every species they encountered either surrendered immediately or was crushed within days. The humans would be no different. "How many ships should we send?" the Emperor asked. 100 should be more than enough," General Mordak replied. "But to make sure of quick victory, I recommend 200 battleships and 50,000 ground troops." The Emperor nodded. "Make it so." "Who will command this easy victory?" "Admiral Krelnos, my lord. He has conquered 12 worlds without losing a single ship." "Perfect. Tell the Admiral that I want this finished quickly. The humans should serve as an example to other primitive worlds. Show them what happens when they resist the Empire." 3 days later, Admiral Krelnos stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Death's Hand. Behind him flew the Third Assault Fleet, 200 of the Empire's most powerful warships. Each ship was 3 times larger than the biggest human vessel. Their weapons could destroy cities, and their shields could stop any attack the humans might try. "Admiral," said his second officer, "we will reach the human system in 6 hours." Krelnos was confident. He had conquered worlds with much stronger defenses than Earth. "When we arrive, follow standard protocol. Destroy their orbital stations first, then demand surrender. If they refuse, we will destroy their moon base as a warning. And if they still resist, then we will show them why the Empire has never lost a war." But while the Zephyrian fleet moved toward Earth, Captain Morrison and his crew watched them from hiding. The human ship looked like a simple asteroid, but inside it was filled with the most advanced sensors Earth had ever built. "They're coming in fast," reported Lisa Grant. 200 ships, all heavily armed. Captain Morrison felt his stomach tighten. It was a huge fleet, much larger than they had expected. Paul, are our ships ready? Engineer Paul Weber checked his instruments. All hidden bases are online, Captain. The moon defenses are charged and ready. The asteroid belt stations are in position. What about the surprise? Paul smiled grimly. The surprise is ready, sir. When they see what we've really built, they're going to be very shocked. On Earth, President Brooks stood in the war room deep under the mountains. Around her, dozens of military officers worked at computer stations. General Torres pointed to the big screen showing enemy ships approaching. Madam President, the alien fleet will be here in 4 hours. All our hidden forces are in position. How many people know the truth about our defenses? She asked. Less than 5,000 worldwide. Everyone else thinks we only have the ships and stations they can see. President Brooks looked at the screen. The red dots representing enemy ships looked very threatening. But she knew something the aliens did not. Humans had been preparing for this day since 1995, when they first detected alien signals from deep space. General, activate all Phase 2 assets. It's time to show these invaders what humans are really capable of. Meanwhile, Colonel Steve Parker sat in a hidden command center under New York City. Around him, men and women in military uniforms worked at control stations. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were part of a secret force that had trained for 30 years for this exact moment. Colonel, said Sergeant Dan Hughes, all resistance cells are ready. The hidden weapons are armed and waiting. Steve looked at his team. There was Rita Johnson, who looked like a simple mechanic, but was actually an expert in alien technology. There was Mike Ross, who ran a small farm but commanded a hidden missile base. There was Linda Cooper, who worked as a teacher but knew how to operate military satellites. Remember, everyone, Steve said into his microphone. The aliens think we are primitive and weak. Let them keep thinking that until it's too late. Back in space, Admiral Krellnos studied the reports from his scouts. Everything looked exactly as expected. Earth had a few space stations, some mining ships around the moon, and what appeared to be a small defense fleet of outdated fighters. This is almost insulting, he told his officers. The Empire's reputation will suffer if word gets out that we needed 200 ships to conquer such a weak world. Should we reduce our force, Admiral? Asked his tactical officer. No. We follow orders. But this battle will be over before it begins. Dr. Amanda Foster and her team worked frantically to decode more alien communications. What they discovered made her blood run cold. Carl, listen to this, she said to her assistant. They're not just planning to conquer us. After they defeat our military, they plan to kill half the population as an example. The other half will be shipped to work camps on other worlds. Carl, Davis looked sick. They've done this before? 47 times. Every species they've conquered follows the same pattern. Invasion, slaughter, enslavement. Amanda thought about her daughter at home, probably doing homework and not knowing that alien warships were coming to destroy her world. But Amanda also knew something that gave her hope. The aliens had never fought humans before. They had no idea what they were walking into. Send this information to the President immediately, Amanda ordered, and make sure our military commanders know exactly what kind of enemy we're facing. As the alien fleet drew closer to Earth, Admiral Krellnos prepared his victory speech. He had given similar speeches 47 times before. He expected to give this one in less than 24 hours. He was very wrong. Admiral Krellnos watched Earth grow larger on his main screen. The blue planet looked peaceful and helpless. His fleet of 200 warships moved in perfect formation, ready to destroy anything that stood in their way. Admiral, we are entering the outer solar system, reported his navigation officer. No signs of resistance? The humans appear to be completely unaware of our presence. Krellnos smiled. This would be even easier than he had thought. Begin the attack. Destroy their outer stations first. Show them the power of the Empire. The alien fleet moved toward what looked like a simple mining station near Jupiter. The station appeared to be unmanned and defenseless. Admiral Krellnos ordered 10 ships to destroy it as a warning to Earth. But as the alien ships approached, something unexpected happened. The mining station suddenly came alive. Hidden panels opened across its surface, revealing massive energy. Weapons. Captain Ellen Murphy, commander of the hidden battle station New Gibraltar, spoke into her microphone. "This is New Gibraltar to all Earth forces. The enemy has revealed themselves. Begin Operation Thunder." The station's main gun fired. A beam of pure energy, powered by a fusion reactor the aliens had mistaken for a simple power source, tore through the lead Zephyrian ship. The alien vessel exploded in a ball of fire. "What?" Admiral Krelno shouted. "That's impossible. Intelligence said they only had mining equipment." But the surprises were just beginning. All around the solar system, what the aliens had thought were asteroids and mining stations suddenly revealed themselves as military bases. Hidden weapons emerged from fake rock surfaces. Ships that had looked like simple cargo vessels dropped their disguises and showed their true nature as advanced warships. Captain Morrison's ship, the Horizon, was among them. "All stations, this is Morrison. The trap is sprung. Let's show these invaders what humans can really do." The battle began in earnest. Admiral Krelnos watched in shock as his mighty fleet came under attack from weapons that should not exist. Human ships that looked primitive on the outside turned out to have shields and weapons equal to his own. "Admiral!" his tactical officer screamed. "We're losing ships. These humans have been hiding their true capabilities." "Impossible," Krelnos said, but he was already seeing the truth. The humans had been preparing for this fight for decades. Earth's moon, another surprise, waited for the Zephyrians. Ground Commander Tyler Reed watched as alien dropships approached Luna Base. The aliens thought they would find a simple mining facility with a few hundred workers. Instead, they found a fortress. "All units, this is Reed," Tyler spoke into his radio. "The enemy is landing. Remember your training. Use the low gravity to your advantage." The Zephyrian soldiers who poured out of their landing ships were strong and well-armed, but they had made a crucial mistake. They were used to fighting on worlds with heavy gravity. On the moon, with its light gravity, they moved slowly and clumsily. Human defenders led by demolitions expert Maria Santos and pilot Jack Coleman used the moon's tunnel systems to attack the aliens from all directions. The Zephyrians found themselves fighting an enemy that could jump higher, move faster, and disappear into hiding places that seemed impossible to reach. "This is not right," the Zephyrian ground commander radioed to his fleet. "These humans fight like warriors, not like the primitive farmers we expected." Back in space, Admiral Krelnos was learning the same lesson. His fleet, which had conquered 47 worlds, was being torn apart by an enemy that should have surrendered without firing a shot. "Send a message to the Empire," he ordered. "Request immediate reinforcements. These humans are not what they appear to be." But Emperor Zarthul, sitting safely on his throne thousands of light years away, refused to believe the reports. "Admiral, Krelnos is exaggerating," he told his council. "No primitive species could threaten our fleet. He must finish this quickly." Meanwhile, Dr. Amanda Foster was learning something important about their enemy. The Zephyrian prisoners captured during the fighting told her things that changed everything. "Carl," she said to her assistant, "these aliens have been conquering worlds for centuries, but they've never had to really fight for any of them. Every species they met either surrendered immediately or was too weak to resist." "What does that mean?" Carl asked. "It means they don't know how to fight a real war. They've become soft. They rely on their big ships and scary reputation, but they've forgotten how to think like soldiers." This was proving true in battle. The Zephyrian commanders kept using the same tactics that had worked on other worlds. They would fly in formation, destroy a few targets, and wait for surrender. But humans didn't surrender. Instead, they used new tactics the aliens had never seen. Human ships would pretend to retreat, then attack from unexpected directions. They would hide behind asteroids and ambush alien patrols. They used the solar system itself as a weapon, leading alien ships into dangerous areas near the sun or into asteroid fields where their large ships couldn't maneuver. Captain Morrison led one such attack. His ship and 5 others pretended to be running away from a group of 20 alien vessels. The aliens chased them into the asteroid belt thinking they had the humans trapped. "Now," Morrison ordered. Hidden throughout the asteroid belt were human weapon platforms disguised as rocks. They opened fire all at once, catching the alien ships in a deadly crossfire. Within minutes, 15 of the 20 alien ships were destroyed. These humans are like nothing we have ever faced, Admiral Krelnos admitted to his officers. They don't fight with honor. They use tricks and traps. What the Admiral didn't understand was that humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years. They knew every trick, every strategy, every way to turn weakness into strength. The Zephyrians had forgotten how to be warriors. Humans had never stopped being warriors. On the moon, Tyler Reed's forces had completely defeated the alien ground troops. The Zephyrians who survived were trapped in their landing ships, afraid to come out. They had never faced an enemy that refused to give up. Commander Reed. His radio crackled. "This is Captain Morrison. How are things down there?" "We've got them beaten, Captain. These aliens don't know how to fight when their enemy fights back." In space above Earth, the great battle continued. Admiral Krelnos watched his fleet shrink. From 200 ships to 100, then to 50. The humans seemed to have weapons and ships everywhere, attacking from directions he never expected. "Admiral," his communication officer said, "the Emperor is demanding a status report." Krelnos looked at the tactical display showing his defeated fleet. He had never imagined this could happen. "Tell the Emperor. Tell him that we have made a terrible mistake." 3 days had passed since the battle began. Admiral Krelnos sat in his damaged command chair, staring at the tactical display with disbelief. Of his mighty fleet of 200 warships, only 30 remained. The rest were destroyed or floating, dead in space. The humans had done the impossible. "Admiral," his communication officer said quietly, "we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet." On the main screen appeared Captain Morrison, standing on the bridge of his ship. Behind him, Krelnos could see other human officers working calmly at their stations. These people did not look like the primitive farmers the Empire had expected to conquer. "Admiral Krelnos," Morrison said, "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Forces. You have exactly 1 hour to gather your surviving ships and leave our solar system. If you are still here after that time, we will destroy every last one of your vessels." Krelnos felt anger rise in his chest. "You cannot threaten the Empire. We have thousands of ships, millions of soldiers." Morrison's expression did not change. "Then you should have brought more of them. 1 hour, Admiral. Leave now, or die here." The transmission ended. Admiral Krelnos looked around his bridge at his frightened officers. For the first time in his military career, he was facing complete defeat. On Earth, President Brooks stood in the underground command center with General Torres. Around them, military officers monitored the battle's end. But the president knew this was not really the end. It was just the beginning. "General, are we ready for Phase 3? She asked. "Yes, Madam President. Admiral Stone's fleet is prepared for launch." President Brooks looked at the screen showing Admiral Krelnos's retreating ships. "These aliens came here to enslave us. They need to understand that was a very bad mistake. What are your orders, ma'am?" "Activate the Prometheus Protocol. It's time to take this fight to them." Admiral Laura Stone stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Retribution. Around her, 50 of Earth's most advanced ships prepared for humanity's first journey beyond the solar system. These ships had been built in secret using technology captured from the Zephyrians, but improved by human engineering. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said her second officer, Commander Judy Pierce. "Excellent. Captain Walsh, is your strike team prepared?" Captain Greg Walsh commanded the fastest ships in the fleet. His job was to hit Zephyrian targets quickly and disappear before they could respond. "Ready and waiting, Admiral." Laura looked at the star chart showing Zephyrian space. "Remember, everyone, we're not going there to conquer worlds. We're going there to send a message." Meanwhile, Emperor Zarthul paced angrily in his palace throne room. The reports from Admiral Krelnos seemed impossible to believe. How could primitive humans destroy the Empire's finest fleet? "My Emperor," General Mordak said nervously. "Perhaps we should send the First Fleet to finish what the Third Fleet started." "No. the Emperor said. First, I want to know how this happened. How did these humans hide such powerful weapons? How did they know we were coming? The answer came sooner than expected. Dr. Patricia Long, Earth's chief scientist, had been working day and night to reverse engineer captured Zephyrian technology. What she discovered changed everything. General Torres, she reported, the alien faster-than-light engines are actually quite simple. We can build our own version, and we can make it better. How much better? Our ships will be faster and harder to detect. We can go anywhere in their empire, and they won't see us coming. This was exactly what President Brooks had been hoping to hear. Dr. Long, how quickly can we build a fleet? We already have, Madam President. We've been working on this for 2 weeks, using parts from the destroyed alien ships. Admiral Stone's fleet is ready to go. Admiral Stone's fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving Earth's solar system for the first time in human history. Their destination was the Zephyrian border world of Kethmore, a military outpost with a large weapons factory. The human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel right above the planet. The Zephyrians on the surface looked up in shock to see 50 alien vessels in their sky. This is Admiral Laura Stone of the Earth Defense Forces, she broadcast, to the planet below. We are here to deliver a message to your empire. Captain Walsh's strike team moved quickly. They destroyed the weapons factory and the military base, but they were careful not to harm civilian areas. This was not about conquest. This was about sending a message. Before the Zephyrian defenders could react, the human fleet was gone, jumping, back to faster-than-light speed. Emperor Zarthul received the news an hour later. They attacked Kethmore? How is that possible? My lord, his intelligence officer reported. They destroyed our military installations but left the civilian population unharmed. They also left behind a message. What message? A single word burned into the ground near the capital city. It says warning in our language. The Emperor felt a chill run down his spine. These humans could strike anywhere in his empire, anytime they wanted. Over the next week, Admiral Stone's fleet hit 12 more Zephyrian military targets. Each time, they destroyed only military installations and left the same message. Warning. The Empire's military commanders began to panic. They had never faced an enemy that could appear anywhere without warning. Their own ships were too slow to catch the human vessels, and their defenses were useless against an enemy that could attack from any direction. Emperor Zarthul called an emergency meeting of his war council. How do we stop them? We can't, my lord, General Mordak admitted. Their ships are faster than ours. They can hit any target in the Empire and escape before we can respond. Then what do you suggest? Before anyone could answer, alarms began ringing throughout the palace. On the screens, they could see ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel directly above the capital world. Admiral Stone's flagship, the Retribution, hung in space above Zephyr Prime like a dark omen. The Emperor and his council watched, in terror as the human ship powered up its weapons. This is Admiral Stone to Emperor Zarthul, came the transmission. You sent a fleet to enslave my people. That was a mistake. The Retribution's main weapon fired, but not at the planet. Instead, it carved massive letters into the surface of Zephyr Prime's largest moon. The message was visible to everyone on the planet below. Stay away from Earth. Any Zephyrian ship that enters human space will be destroyed without warning, Admiral Stone continued. We claim a 50-light-year sphere around our home as human territory. Violate it, and we will systematically destroy every military installation in your empire. You cannot threaten the empire, Emperor Zarthul transmitted back. We're not threatening, Admiral Stone replied calmly. We're promising. The human fleet vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving the empire's leaders staring at the wow message carved into their moon. Emperor Zarthul sat heavily on his throne. For the first time in the empire's history, they had met an enemy they could not defeat. These humans were different from every other species they had encountered. They would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Issue an empire-wide directive, the Emperor said quietly. All ships are forbidden from approaching the human system. Earth is now classified as forbidden territory. The Zephyrian Empire had learned a hard lesson. Some species could not be conquered, no matter how powerful the attacker. Humans were the most dangerous of all such species, because they never, ever gave up.